Hey, this is your girl, Kenda, and I'm also known as the Joy Factor Mama, and I am a cultural sociologist and cultural astrologist. And I'm going to be sharing this energy for this first week of March. And I like to title it The Saturation Before the Spark. Now, let me tell you, there's a lot of energy that is happening in Pisces. We have the sun there. We have Mercury. We have Venus. And then March 2nd, Mars is entering the chat. And Mars in Pisces is all about the subconscious desires and identity and motives underwater. And so when all of this energy gathers in such a watery and intuitive sign like this, everyone, no matter what your sun sign is, no matter what your rising sign is, everyone may feel more sensitive, more tired, and really not into forcing outcomes or pushing. Anybody that is really trying to push something this is not the week for. This is the week to meditate and to think on actions. So Tuesday, March 3rd, here we come. The big event of the week and the month, Lunar Eclipse in Virgo. And if you don't know, Virgo rules your life habits, your body, your labor, the routines, and also the quiet ways that we sometimes over function. That tick into action that we have that quietly feels uncomfortable, but we do it to keep things going. Okay. Well, this eclipse is going to interrupt that flow where you being able to do it does not necessarily mean that you have to do it. And this is going to affect certain areas. So make sure that you like and subscribe, because as I go on, I'm going to hit every rising sign based on these three energies. So going back to the third one is on Saturday, March the 7th, we have a Mercury Cazimi in Pisces. And this is basically a moment of clarity inside, like whatever area this affects. You might have had some fogginess, some lack of some clarity. Well, this Cazimi on Saturday, March the 7th, will hopefully help to clarify some things for you. And because Mercury is in retrograde, that means that it's probably going to be tied to something in the past or whatever. But this week, don't start nothing. You are releasing certain things. You're allowing things to dissolve. And I'm going to be doing a special report on politics and the social climate, because we're basically seeing releasing of the old structures, dissolving them. And with the eclipse, this is really about what we are not going to no longer micromanage. Okay, let's get to it. Now, before I go any further, I just want to share that while this is basically ran by your rising sign, you can still get some benefits from reading it based on your sun sign and or even your moon sign. So basically, the rising sign is like the house that you were born into, your basic entry point. And that is showing where this event or these things are actually happening based on where the planets are. Now, if you look at it from your sun sign, that is your identity, your ego, the way that you think, the way that you respond to changes in life is how you physically think and respond. Okay. And your moon sign is basically your nervous system and how you respond to the outside world, or how you emotionally interpret things that you are going through. But again, if you really want the nitty gritty, you need to get a personal report from me, and we can really dive deep into your secret spirals of joy that are somewhere in your chart. Okay. But let's get back to this week. All right. So after you hear your rising sign or your sun or your moon, whatever you want, I want you to drop a wave or a water emoji, preferably a strong wave, and let me know if you are letting broken systems collapse. Okay. So what we're going to be showing is, where are you tired? Where are we tired? Where are we no longer willing to push to get, or push to get through, or even pull? Okay. Those things that might be feeding resentment, those things that you might also be idolizing, that are no long, that are not, anyway, where you are idolizing, and where you are quietly just done. Because once we get to the equinox, it's going to be green light. And then we have another very interesting April. So this month is about, again, these contracts that are you re-signing contracts that are no longer yours? Are you amending contracts? And this could be with work. This could be with friends. This could be even with yourself. Because I know for me, I am really looking at the way that I take care of myself in terms of like food, eating, rest, self-talk. And I do good self-talk, but I could really do better, where I could do better with even me. And it talks about it in the astrology. So if you're ready, let's go. But don't forget to drop that water emoji, and let's go. So I'm going to start with the fire signs. So as we start heading towards spring, for fire rising signs, this is an identity thaw. So Aries, this Mars entering Pisces is in your 12th house of your subconscious. So you're going to start really conserving your energy. You're going to feel more quiet. You're going to be more intuitive and strategic with your energy and your fire. When we get to Tuesday, the eclipse, this is with your daily habits and things like that. So your routine or whatever, it's not going to be functional. Over functioning is, you're going to have a great opportunity to rest. Stop overproving yourself. And then by Saturday, when the Mercury Cazimi comes in, it's going back into your 12th house of the hidden and the unseen. And you will probably get a private realization. Just write it down. You don't have to make like a big announcement. That is for you. Okay. And just be cool. All right. Now, Leo rising. So on Monday, when Mars enters Pisces, this is affecting your 8th house. And this is about either shared money, intimacy, or ideas of power in partnerships and relationships. So right now, you're going to be quietly coordinating how you invest and how you are being invested in. Okay. And that is emotionally more so than financially, depending upon where you are. Now, when the eclipse hits, again, this is hitting the 2nd house. This is of personal income and self-worth. So this corridor is, again, your identity. How valuable are you seeing yourself? So this is going to signal where you're going to put a pause on something that is draining your worth. Okay. So then on Saturday, March the 7th, when the Cazimi hits, it's again hitting your 8th house of relationships, partnerships. And there will be some clarity, and the math will make sense, and basically know who you are, Leo. All right. Sagittarius rising. So on Monday, when Mars enters Pisces, this is going to be about your home or your emotional foundation. And you're going to feel very serious about protecting your inner world, but you're not going to be telling people, look, you're going to give me my peace. You're energetically, you're going to start creating space for that to occur even more efficiently. When we get to Tuesday, March the 3rd, the Virgo lunar eclipse is going to hit your 10th house of career, or how you appear or you show up in the public. So a certain identity you're going to relinquish, and you're going to let go. And you may be called to take on like a new role or a title. But public pressure is going to release as a result of that. Okay. And then on Saturday, when we have the Cazimi in a Pisces, you're going to have even more clarity with your home and your property. And it's probably because you are deciding how you are going to keep your peace. All right, let's move on. All right, so my earth signs, this is about the value thaw. All right, so Taurus rising. Mars entering Pisces is affecting your 11th house of networks and community. So you are going to be looking at recalibrating the groups and the spaces that you find yourself in. Okay. On the eclipse on March the 3rd, this is affecting your 5th house. And basically, if it feels like labor, you're out of there. What may help with this if you is doing a more creative shift to kind of reorganize your priorities where it can actually be fun, where it doesn't feel like work. Okay. And then on Saturday, March the 7th, this Cazimi in Pisces is going to give you the opportunity to get some insight from an old contact. An old contact is possibly you might bump into them, they might call you, they might send you a text, and you'd be like, oh, wow, I never even thought about that. So be on the lookout for that, Taurus. Okay. Now, Virgo rising. On Monday, March the 2nd, Mars entering Pisces is going to be dealing with your partnerships. It's going to be sensitivities, people that you're dealing with. They may feel very emotionally reactive or very vague. That's just the energy. Now, on Tuesday, March the 3rd, when we have this eclipse, this is in your first house of identity and your body image and your image. And basically you are shedding the I'll handle it. Like your cape, you are retiring your cape, and it's going to be evident. And by Saturday, you're going to have a conversation that's going to clarify a partnership or a relationship. So look for whatever that thing was that may began on Monday. You'll have some clarity by Saturday. Okay. And last but not least, Capricorn rising. So when Mars enters Pisces on Monday, this is going to hit your 3rd house of communications, agreements, and or contracts. So for you, strategic conversations are going to happen, but they might not be in the open. They may not happen in the way that you normally think that they would. Don't push back on it. If someone says they want to talk to you, sidebar, hear them out and see where it goes. On Tuesday, March the 3rd, with this eclipse, this is in your 9th house of beliefs and expansion. And basically your ideology is going to shift. And how you're going to know this is that you are not going to feel like defending your thoughts or your point of view. But this time, I really advise people try your best not to get into any altercations on theories or points of view, partisan issues, things like that. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So by Saturday, March the 7th, the Mercury Cazimi is going to return back to you. Is going to be in, your 3rd house of communication and ideas, contracts, and a powerful idea may come to you. You might get an awesome download. So have a great week. All right. Air signs. Gemini rising. So Monday, March the 2nd, when Mars enters Pisces, it is affecting the area of career and reputation. So what you're going to be doing things in regards to your business in a very quiet but intentional way. When we get to the 3rd, which is Tuesday, the eclipse, this is going to be dealing with your 4th house of your home roots and family structure adjustments. And with that, you emotionally are detaching from inherited types of responsibilities or things that you've just taken on without really like agreeing to them or even asking for them. You might have taken them on your own, but this eclipse is going to show you don't need to do that. And then by Saturday, March the 7th, when the Mercury Cazimi happens in Pisces, it's in your 10th house again. And this is where you're going to get some career clarity. All right, Gemini. Libra rising. So Monday, March the 2nd, when Mars enters Pisces, this is affecting your work and your health flow. So your during this period, your energy may fluctuate. So efficiency is important. Make sure that you have a schedule or a flow that supports you first and not just getting things done. Okay. Take care of yourself as you get things done. So Tuesday, March the 3rd, when we have this Virgo eclipse, This is going to hit your 12th house of the subconscious and areas of stress. So hidden anxieties may surface. So when you start feeling that way, that is a clue to create more space for yourself. So you may choose to withdraw from obligations that you now understand are draining. Okay. So by Saturday, March the 7th, you will have a workflow solution to help you with where you're like, darn, I'm tired. So just wait for it. You're going to get the aha to get the perfect pace of efficiency while taking care of yourself. Aquarius rising. So Monday, March the 2nd, Mars enters Pisces in the area of money and self-worth for you. And your financial attitude and the way that you go about getting money is going to begin quietly shifting. Okay. You're going to start understanding what your value is in a quiet, sovereign way. When the lunar eclipse hits, this is going to be on your house of shared finances and debts. And whatever financial entanglement or shared type of responsibility that you may have been entangled with is going to dissolve. And this may be from you actually cutting the cord financially or energetically. Message. All right. Saturday, May the 7th, March the 7th. Mercury, Cazimi, and Pisces. This is going back to your second house. And this is where you're going to recognize your real value. Doesn't that feel good? All right, air signs, have a great week. Last but certainly not least, we have the emotional thaw for the water signs. So let's begin with Cancer. Cancer rising. Monday, March the 2nd, Mars enters Pisces. And this is going to be affecting your house of beliefs and expansion. Your spiritual convictions may deepen. On Tuesday, March the 3rd, when the eclipse hits, this is going to be affecting your third house of communication and local life. And basically, you're going to stop explaining yourself. That's it. That's all. It is what it is. Okay. By Saturday, March the 7th, when the Mercury Cazimi happens in Pisces, the truth is going to land with certainty. So whatever this spiritual conviction that you have, you're going to have, it's going to land by Saturday. You're going to see a flicker of that. Okay. Now, moving on to Scorpio rising. Monday, March the 2nd, Mars entering Pisces is going to affect your fifth house of joy and romance. So your creative fires are going to start burning quietly and softly in the undercurrents. So on Tuesday, March the 3rd, when the eclipse hits, this is affecting your 11th house of community. So a group dynamic may shift. And basically, you're going to choose joy over being a part of the crowd. Okay. And then by Saturday, March the 7th, when Mercury has that Cazimi in Pisces, this is affecting your fifth house again. And this is where you're going to have a creative breakthrough. All right. Pisces rising. Last but not least, Monday, March the 2nd, when Mars enters your sign, this is first house, which is identity and your body. You are going to start feeling more energized, but emotionally heightened, meaning that what you feel and see is going to be much stronger, more vibrant, more in tune. Now, you have to remember that Mercury is retrograde in your sign. So what you see, how you feel, make sure that you're in tune with it and not triggered by it. Okay. Tuesday, March the 3rd, Virgo lunar eclipse. This is affecting your 7th house, partnerships. So a relationship dynamic is shifting, and you will set a boundary clearly and calmly. So it doesn't have to be a bunch of knock 'em, rock 'em, sock 'em, and all of that stuff. You just, this is what it is. And then by Saturday, March the 7th, back in your first house, there is a Mercury Cazimi, and that's about your self-awareness is sharpening. So, and you'll get something that's going to be, wow, I really know who I am. And this is just week 1. All right. So again, what I do, I use all of my different tools, and I love astrology. I love culture, and I don't like to just look at the stars and feel like everything like around me I'm subject to. So I am not just forecasting. I am gardening. And what I'm trying to learn what I'm learning, what I'm cultivating, and what I want to share with others so we can cultivate together is shifting from living in hyper vigilance to felt instance, like being in the moment and not feeling like we have to always be competent, but knowing that our capacity is more than enough. And we are like approaching spring and the soil is softening. So if you're interested in getting a personal report, click the link in my bio or shoot me an email. Information is wherever you are watching this video. And you can also join my Sacred Garden waitlist. I want to see you guys in the place to be. Have a great one. See you next week. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave that wave emoji.